Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are featuring from McFarlane Toys and DC Direct, the Page Punchers Superman with exclusive Black Adam comic book that you can see on the back of the box. Alright, so I'm excited to check this figure out. To me, this feels like it could be the closest thing to like a perfect Superman figure. The only thing that's kind of holding it back for me anyways is the choice of colors. It might not look like this on the video, but if you were to handle this figure in person, the shade of red and blue that they're using, it's a little bit more on the warmer and muted side. As I'm looking at this through like my computer, the blue looks a little bit more vibrant, same with the red. But that's not the case. You know, once you handle this in person or see it at the store, you'll see what I'm talking about. The blue is a little bit more like on the gray neutral side, and same with the red. But besides that, I think this could be like a perfect Superman, especially if you've been hunting around for like an iconic Superman figure. You know, we've had a couple of them, you know, Rebirth. There was a Superman in the 2-pack with Devastator, and also his solo release. Those are really well done. There's the upcoming Jim Lee Hush Superman, which looks amazing. But there's something about this figure for me. I think it really does a good job of balancing like realistic Superman versus comic book Superman. The proportions are really well done. He's not too buffed out. The folds and wrinkles are subtle. They're not overstated. His cape, even though it's not neutral and kind of flowing, it doesn't take up too much space. And it's just a really nice, well done figure. You know, I love the expression. I love the head sculpt. It's very, you know, it's youthful, but youthful with experience. That's kind of the expression I get. And he even comes with 2 flight hands, which I feel is a necessity for all Superman figures. So yeah, very excited to check this guy out. I think this is, you know, going to be a really standout looking figure. Alright, so included with the figure, in addition to the comic book and the trading card, which you can see right here, he comes with a flight stand, which is awesome. It's a nice bonus. And the figure himself, it looks great. The flesh tones also, just to let you know, they're a little bit, I'm not sure how it's being captured on video. On video, they might look a little bit richer, a little bit more vibrant, but the flesh tones is a lot more pale in person. So just to give you a word of advice on that. Really well done cape. Like I said, generally I prefer capes when they're kind of just neutral, but I can make an exception for this figure just because it's not too big. It doesn't get too crazy. It's flowing, but it's kind of confined within the footprint of the figure. So. Alright, this guy is awesome. Yeah, for right now, as I'm handling him, the one thing that kind of like is a put off is just the colors. Otherwise, this is like for me like almost like the ideal Superman figure. You know, he's not super buffed out. I mean, of course he's muscular, but it's not like he's like barrel-chested and giant like a Frank Miller Dark Knight Superman. He's a little bit leaner in the torso, but he has these big arms. He has these giant hands. And we all know what they say about men with giant hands. Big gloves. This guy stands in at about a little over, almost 7.25. If you want a size comparison, here's the McFarlane designed gold label Batman. And, you know, with the McFarlane line, the scale's always kind of an issue with people. You know, the figures don't all scale well next to each other. I think some of the older figures are slightly larger than the newer ones. This nicely well done Superman. I like this guy a lot. Everything about it's awesome. All right, let's take a look at him up close. Nice sculpt for the head. I love the emblem a lot. It's a nice relief to details. You can actually feel it. Mine's a little bit scuffed up right there on the S, which is kind of disappointing, but that's alright. I can live with that. He has a hint of the spit curl right there. It's not perfectly coming down the middle like, you know, like iconic Superman. Nice cheekbones. Kind of has that cleft chin. Nice jawline. You know, Superman needs a nice strong jawline, which this guy has. Very serious look. He's looking directly at us, which is nice. He doesn't have that side eye. Beautifully sculpted hair with, I think there's a hint of blue. Yeah, there's some blue in the hair that contrasts against the black. Adds more volume and depth to it. The folds and wrinkles are well done. They're not excessive. You know, this is a nice flowing cape. Again, I like the fact that even though it's flowing, it's kind of staying within the footprint of the character. It's not going excessively too far off to the sides. Again, there's, you know, this shade of blue might be it might put you off. If you really want that deep, rich, vibrant blue and that really powerful red that Superman's known to have, you know, this kind of might annoy you a little bit. It's a little bit more on the grayish, cooler side. Somewhat muted. I love the fact that this Superman design has the briefs over his pants. Really nice looking belt. It's a much more modern take. Cool buckle. Nice boots. He has some trim on his cuffs. I'm kind of glad they went with the for the ball joint. Even though you can see some of the ball joint for the wrist, I'm glad they went with the same color as a sleeve and not a flesh tone. I think that it works a little bit better. If the ball joint was like flesh color, it'd make the hand look too big. And if you look at him right now, this guy has this guy has huge hands. Look at that. Yeah, this guy's a boxer. He has some nice big meaty hands on him. All right, now I can't stop looking at it. I think his hands might be too big. Look at that. That hand's too big. Oh, it's ridiculous. He does come with flying hands, but I've kind of shuffled that off to the side, so I apologize for that. I can't really grab it right now. But yeah, it's giant hands. Big gloves. All right, so yeah, really well sculpted. It's a very comic book design in the sense that it doesn't have, like, you know, with a lot of the McFarlane figures, they always have some sort of crazy micro texture on the uniform to make it look more realistic, real world. This guy's very subtle. You know, everything's kind of subtle on this guy. You know, he doesn't have excessive folds or wrinkles. There's a hint of some trim and stitching running down his side. But otherwise, it's a pretty close fit to, like, iconic Superman. But with a slightly, you know, much more modern take. Especially in the way, like, the belt and buckle are done. Yeah, beautiful figure. I love this guy a lot. It's awesome. Look at that. If you stare at him too long, you might fall in love with him, so. Alright, so this guy's head, it rotates left and right. Does he look down? A little bit. Does he look up? Yes. Not a whole lot, but enough. Which is nice because Superman's a flyer. You know, just all right. Give me a second. I'm gonna grab those flying hands real quick. All right, let's get one of these out. Let's see what this looks like. I'm curious to see if these hands, like these fists, we could all agree these fists are too large for his hand. I mean, look the size of his fist next to his head. It's gigantic. I'm hoping the hands are kind of reasonable in proportion. They might be too big also. Yeah, look at the size of those mitts. They're a little bit too big. I kind of feel like his hands are too big. Yeah, there he is with his hand. It's a really big hand. And it's a little bit too big. Like, once you have it plugged in, it kind of like, it really exceeds the width of the wrist also. As you can see right there, it's a little too wide. I don't know who these hands are made for. They're too big for Superman. All right. Oh man, this is this is where I'm kind of like conflicted. I'm glad they gave us flying hands for a character that flies. I'm disappointed that the hand is ginormous. Look at that. It's too big. All right, let's put the normal hand back on. All right, so back to articulation. This guy has a cut mid-torso. You know, standard, does what you expect it to do. Swivel at the waist. Arms. That ball-socketed butterfly joint. Double pinned elbows. Wrists are nice. Kicks. Doesn't want to kick up. I think it's because the briefs kind of run down a little bit too far. It only goes out it only go up about this high. No, which isn't. I take it back. That's not bad. Kicks out. Might be full splits. Does he do full splits? Yeah, full splits. Double pinned knees. And ankle articulation, toe articulation. You know, this guy is pretty solid. All right, so if I had to rate this guy on a scale of 1 to 10, how does he fare? I don't know, 8.5 to a 9, a low 9. Now, the only reason why I'm saying that is because, all right, so I'm not too keen on the colors, but, you know, if this is how he looks in the comic book, cool. You know, it's like one of those things where I'm kind of on the hunt for the perfect, iconic Superman in the McFarlane line. And for me, this guy comes very, very close to, like, the version of Superman I really want. I do have an issue with the size of his fists. I think they're too big. You know, likewise, the extra pair of hands are too big also. But it's really well done. I mean, just look at that. It's an outstanding figure. It does a nice job of balancing out comic book Superman versus, like, realistic Superman, which I think is great. You know, the only thing that might be off-putting, like I said, is just the colors. You know, for some people, they might really want that, like, deep, rich blue and the really vibrant red. But this is all right. I can live with this. It's awesome. All right, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I will see you at the next one. All right, later.